Okay, I am back. All right, and so I am back, and I don't know if anyone is going to be able to join me. It's not really that late. Well, it's kind of late. It's 12:19 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if any of you are out there, join on in. And I just wanted to briefly talk about something really quickly. I know it's late. I don't know what time everyone goes to bed, but I'm up throughout the night sometimes. So I just wanted to come back on really quickly. And if anyone is out there, they can join in. And what I wanted to talk about is avoiding conflicts with customers. I thought that that would be a good topic to talk about. And I'll tell you why, because I actually just completed an order. It was an order for a group. And it was a good order that I did. I did actually two orders for two different groups. And I usually don't do group orders. As you know, I do baby ensembles. But I did one particular group I did for the mom squad of the Navy, and then I did another order group that didn't have anything to do with them. And I want to tell you that today I got a chance to deliver the order, and they were just so grateful. And I was a little frustrated because I had to. There was a detour. It was a big accident or something was going on. It was just a detour. And it was raining, and I arrived at the facility later than I expected to, but they were very kind about it, and just really grateful. And one of the things that one of the ladies had said was, you know what, Candia, you made this transaction really smoothly, and we had so many problems when we ordered before from a different company. Now, this order that they had placed was for t-shirts for a company's picnic that they are going to be attending in 2 weeks or 2 weekends from tomorrow. And so they wanted the t-shirts early so they could avoid a conflict, because that was one of the conflicts that they had last year. And so I see three of you have joined in. Thank you for joining in. Let's go down the line and see who is here. We have Sheila, we have Anissa, we have Sharon. Thank you all for joining in. I appreciate that. What I wanted to talk about is avoiding conflicts with customers. And I was just mentioning that I actually delivered an order today, and I was actually frustrated once I got there because I was supposed to get there one time, but because of the rain and because of a detour, it got me there literally like about an hour or so after I was supposed to be there. And this was the nicest team. They were just so kind and just so pleasant about it. And turned out they ordered these shirts for a company picnic that they will be attending in 2 weeks. And they ordered the shirts early because last year when they ordered from a different company, they had some problems. So they were trying to avoid any errors, conflicts, mistakes this time around. So they thought that they would order early. So tonight I wanted to talk about really quickly, and I know it's late, but I wanted to talk about avoiding conflicts with customers and how we can do that the best way that we can. And the one thing that I want to tell you is that when you think of a conflict, sometimes it has a negative tone to it because it sounds negative, because when you talk about conflict, we think about problems, right? And so I want you to think about something else other than problems. Think about your client, okay? And when they call, you for the initial service. So go back to when this initial part of this transaction started out. They called you because either they were referred to you or maybe they found you on the internet. Regardless to how they found you, right? And after talking to you, whatever, you won the deal, okay? They are spending their money with you. They're ready to move forward. Let's do it. All right. And so after that transaction is over, somewhere in the middle of either after it was over, during the delivery, or during the inspection process, because I find that's when conflicts arrive, is after customers get their order, whether it's delivered or shipped. Once they got it in their possession, they inspect it. If it's a problem, that's where the conflict starts. Okay, they contact you. They contact you because they have a problem with your embroidery services. Pause. Let's stop there. Now, if the contact is initially made regarding the problem, let's say via text, or email, or maybe they may have Facebook Messenger you. You got a heads up that there's a problem. Okay, that's better than actually calling you or showing up at your shop, showing up at your home, saying I got a problem. Because at least if you get a someone to call you, or I'm sorry, someone to text you, or someone to email you, or send you a message on Facebook, at least you have some time to kind of gather your thoughts and process what the problem is and how you are going to handle it, right? And so now you need to make the initial call because they've already reached out to you, letting you know that there's a problem. You need to call them back. How are you feeling at this point? A lot of the times we are, apprehensive, like, oh, this customer has had a problem and now I need to call them back. I want you to really think about how you are feeling. Are you annoyed because this customer gave you a headache from the start? Are you excited about calling them? Are you confused because you don't understand what the problem is? You thought that the services were great? I want to know, how are you feeling at this point, because how you feel at this point is going to determine how you take care of this conflict, right? And so when the question is posed to me, Candia, how do you feel when you have to deal with a conflict? I got to tell you that, I'm excited about speaking to a customer about a problem because I want to know, first of all, I feel so confident in my services alone. Maybe it's my big head, my big ego, but I feel so confident in my services alone. Someone has a problem with my services, I want to know. I want to know. And first and foremost, I'm excited the fact that I get the opportunity to have some kind of contact with this customer, to make contact with them, to deal with this problem. Because the fact that the customer is reaching out to me, telling me that there's something went wrong, or maybe I got something wrong, or maybe something was misaligned and I missed it when I inspected it that final time before it shipped out of my studio or before it was delivered. I am grateful that I have that opportunity. And so I'm always really, really excited to deal with a problem if it arrives. I never back away from it. All right. And so I want to go back to recently what happened. So many of you are members of the group Embroidery Boss, the group that I'm the president of, or the host, or the admin, or whatever you want to call me. It doesn't even matter. That I host on Facebook, right? And it's a group of Embroidery Boss. Most of us are business owners. Some of us are hobbyists. But it's a group that is almost 10,000 deep. Okay, so it's a very big group. Anyhow, someone posted a problem. It was a problem the other day. It was a photo of embroidered shirts. Apparently, she worked for someone and they ordered from a different company 31 embroidered shirts. When she posted the photo of these shirts, the logo was misaligned. Okay, so it was a two-part process where it was one logo here and one logo here. The distance was off. It was clearly misaligned. The embroidery wasn't bad. It was just that it was misaligned. Okay. And so I started to ask questions like, what did the service contract state? Did you try to contact them, and so forth? And surprisingly enough, this particular post had an overwhelming, I was overwhelmed reading the post, so I don't know how she felt, but it had an enormous amount of responses where the Embroidery Boss members, most who are embroidery business owners, were requesting her and encouraging her, get your money back. Refund, 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 refund. And I was a bit taken by that and actually quite surprised that embroidery business owners would have such a response, considering we are all, or most of us are, embroidery business owners. And, it's easy. It's easy as a customer, as a client, to call the credit card company or file a dispute with PayPal and request your money back. But it is also something about a customer who would also take the time to give you the opportunity to fix it. To be quite frank, they don't have to do that. They don't have to give you the opportunity to fix it. And so if a customer is giving you the opportunity to address or fix a problem that they had with your embroidery services, you need to be grateful. All right. But I wanted to actually address this in two different ways. First of all, that old saying, do unto others as you wish done to you. Okay. First of all, you have to also consider that. I was surprised that embroidery business owners, embroidery boss members were encouraging this woman to, her boss, to request a refund, even if she was rightfully due to it. But that shouldn't be the first step of action, okay? Because you still have the shirts. Give them the opportunity to fix it. What I found really more upsetting is that the embroidery business owner, the person that provided the crooked logo here and the other logo here. They apparently was ignoring them after initial contact had been made when a problem was submitted. That is not the way you avoid a conflict. All right, first of all, 31 shirts is a big order. And if you have had someone pay you for 31 shirts, and now that there's a problem, and from what I understand, the majority, if not all of them, were misaligned, you should not avoid the customer. That is not how you avoid conflicts. So I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, that if you have a problem with the customer, it doesn't matter if the customer is right, if it's wrong, or the customer can be unreasonable and or downright ridiculous. You still need to deal with that customer. Don't avoid them, especially if you have their money. All right, because it's going to cost you more for them to ship your ass into a small claims court. And excuse my language, but it's true. Because now, if this is a situation where they're now asking you to pay for court costs or attorney fees, or it's going to cost you more. So don't ignore them if you are the embroidery service member. And I know some customers are, a little bit more challenging, a little bit require a little bit more attention than others. But at the end of the day, if they've paid you, they've paid you. And so don't avoid them, because that's only going to make the conflict even worse, and it's going to make the customer upset with you. And so here's what I want you to think about. Okay, go back into embroidery business owner mode. I want you to think about if you didn't have the opportunity to address the conflict or the problem that the customer is having. So imagine being the embroidery business owner. Imagine being the person that provided embroidery services for 10 shirts, 31 shirts, or whatever it is. And you ship it out, you do everything, you had good communication with the customer, you tracked it, they received the order, and then all of a sudden you receive a chargeback email from the credit card company informing you that there was a problem. All right. And you know what? Sometimes things can be corrected. Isn't it horrible that this person didn't even give you the opportunity to fix, especially if it's something small and if it's your fault? Whereas you can't fix it. Let's talk about other things that could have went wrong here. And so, embroidery business owners, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. All right. And so, yes, I do my baby ensembles. I get a lot of pat on the backs for it and I feel pretty good and stuff. But there could be a time where someone says, Candia, I don't like it. Or, Candia, you did get a letter off, or it was misaligned, or so, whatever it is. I just pray that people will always give me the opportunity to fix it, and that they don't just rush and call the credit card company and so forth. And so I got to tell you that for me, I never avoid conflicts. If someone needs to contact me or have a problem, I am just so grateful that they are giving me the opportunity to do so. And I would actually, discourage anybody from avoiding conflicts. And so I'm going to stop here and I'm going to go down and just acknowledge all who is here. And we're looking at Valerie, Anointed Psalm, Dawn Griffin, Susie Sarver, Sheila Cushenberry, Anissa Same, Sheila Blake. How are you all doing? And I'd like to know, what are your thoughts in regards to, and to dealing with conflicts. I'm looking at some notes that I have here that I wanted to touch base on. What do you think about dealing with conflicts and so forth? Do you dread them? Because that's the next thing that I want to talk about too, that if you do dread them, or if you're nervous about it, why? Because we have to talk about that too. What's your thoughts on dealing with conflicts and dreading them? All right. And so Shelly, hi Shelly, how are you? And Heidi, how are you? And so Shelly and Heidi, just to kind of bring you up to speed, we were just talking about dealing with conflicts with customers and how to avoid them. And the first thing that I am stating is that you don't avoid you don't avoid conflicts with the customer by avoiding the customer. So the first thing that you want to do is contact the customer. So if the customer have made some kind of initial contact with you via email, text, Facebook Messenger, you've had time to kind of look into what is the problem, come up with a solution. Hopefully they have given you enough information that you can provide a solution before making contact with them. But even if they didn't, then you just want to just reach out to them. And so let's do a little bit of role playing real quickly. And so let's say, for example, you did 3 sweaters on for a customer, okay? And the order went out well, the communication was great, it was delivered, and then all of a sudden you get a text that they're not happy. And that's exactly what they say to you in the text. They send you a text back and they say, hi, Candia, received my order today. So sorry to say I'm not happy. Okay, so before you get annoyed, before you become concerned or confused or whatever, the first thing that I would just say, first of all, apologize for them not being happy. You would say, I'm so sorry you're unhappy, but I'm not sure what you're unhappy with, what's going on, okay? Because you want to fish for information too before making the initial contact, especially if you can text back and forth before calling. I would say go back and forth a little bit just to get more information out of them, but at some point say, is it okay for me to call you? Because you don't want to go back and forth constantly, back and forth, back and forth. I would say just for a little bit of time and then ask if you can call them and then talk about it, okay? Because by the time you are making that call, you've gotten enough information about what the problem is. Okay, you can kind of determine if it was your fault, if you misunderstood, if whatever the case may have been, if their expectations were a little bit higher that you did not meet, whatever it is, you would have the opportunity to learn what the conflict is or the problem that they have in before you've made the call. And then by the time you make the call, you should answer the call apologizing from the start, regardless to whose fault it is. Okay, so let's say, for example, it is their fault. All right, let's say it is their fault. This is how I would answer the call. Like, for example, let's say somebody sent me the wrong personalization request. They spelled the name wrong. All right, and say, suppose they realize that it's their fault. They spelled the name wrong, but they're unhappy. Okay, I will call and just say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry that this has happened. Okay, what can we do to fix it? That's what customers want to hear. They want to hear, what are you going to do to fix it, especially if it's their fault. Okay, even if you have to charge an additional fee, because remember, you are providing services and it wasn't your fault, at least sound sympathetic and be empathetic so they feel terrible. They know that it was their fault. Don't become defensive. That's what I'm saying, because it's, not in what you say, is how you present it. So even if you say, you know what, so and so, I realize that, it was your error with the spelling of the name, but unfortunately my schedule don't allow me to just redo the order over, especially without recharging you. So instead of saying, oh, I can't do that over for free, just say, I can't, it doesn't allow me to do that without recharging you. I have to sustain my business. And so people kind of understand that. All right. And then you can say, well, this is what we can do. All right. Because maybe you don't have time to do a big ensemble or multiple pieces over, but can you do maybe 2 or 3 or, half of whatever it is, just so they would have something. Now, let's say it's your fault. Okay, let's say that the problem that the customer is having your fault. Let's say they don't like it. They didn't like the font they chose. It looks different. The color is off. Let's say it's one of those problems that it's your fault. They told you red and you used Christmas red opposed to brick red, or whatever the case is, it's your fault. They're not taking responsibility whatsoever. Again, when you make the initial contact, you want to start it off with an apology. Okay, you want to start off with an apology, because what it will do, if nothing else, is it will actually set the tone for the conversation. All right, it will, if they are defensive because they're ready for conflict, it will actually kind of calm them down, simmer them down, because you're not getting on the phone ready to battle with them. So you can call and say, you know what? Hi, this is so and so. I am so sorry that you were unhappy with your order. And then you can ask, tell me more. And then while they are telling you more, you're listening. But remember, they have already texted you. Hopefully, you've had some communication with them. And you can say, I'm not sure where I misunderstood, but I was under the impression of that your embroidery request was, and whatever it is, which is one of the reasons why a service contract comes into place. Because at this time, you would have reverted back to, or referred back to, looking at your service contract and seeing what their embroidery request was and what happened, where the miscommunication or misunderstanding came into play. And so that's another reason why you need things in writing as well. And so one of the things that I want to go back and say is, don't avoid it though. Whatever you have to do, address it. It's important to your business, because if nothing else, a lot of the times that is what can make or break your company in regards to your reputation being spreaded around positively or negatively. It can be the difference in someone returning to your company as a loyal customer. It can also be the difference in someone referring your customer. People are people. People understand problems happen. All right, what people don't understand is poor customer service. People don't understand that. And so if you have a problem of avoiding someone, it's only going to fuel them up. So don't delay, don't push them off, don't blow them off, don't do that. That's only going to fuel them up. They're only going to get mad at you. Deal with them, talk to them, try to figure out a solution, and then be able to move on. If nothing else, people will say, you know what? I appreciate you, taking the time to fix this problem, or I like the way you handled it. And that's it. So that's all I have for you right now tonight. I'm going to go in and start doing some things in my studio. And Sheila Cushionberry says, I have seen many who get bent out of shape if someone is unhappy with their product, as if they are above human and beyond. Rather than try to reach a solution, they immediately get angry. Absolutely. And nothing, enough but nothing else, Sheila. You know what that also does? It sets the tone. It sets the tone. And so if someone doesn't like the quality, okay, of the embroidery, okay, let's talk about the quality. So that means that you didn't get any of the spelling incorrectly. Everything was spelled right. The misalignment you avoided that. Everything is even, perfect. They chose the embroidery design. You did everything that they asked you to do and they agreed to, but they think that the quality of the embroidery is shoddy. Okay, and they're telling you this. I'm a person that will call you and tell you, I don't like the quality of this. All right, so instead of getting upset and mad, again, because the bottom line is they paid for a service that they are not happy with, and it came from your company. So you need to try to fix whatever the problem is, okay? You just need to try to fix it. And so instead of getting angry with the customer, because now the customer is put in a position where they feel like this. They've spent their money with you. You've gotten their money. They're not happy with their services, and you are mad with me that I'm not happy with your services. All right, and they feel that energy. So don't get angry. Just take a deep breath and reach out to them or call them when you are in better spirits and you have a resolution on how you are going to deal with that problem. And so Sheila also says that they don't realize that the behavior can be detrimental to their business. Absolutely, because people listen, so they go on tone, right? So, you know what I mean? Even though you don't see the person if you're talking on the phone, but if you can tell if somebody has an attitude, you can tell if somebody's getting frustrated with you just by tone. So that matters, right? So you have to be careful on how you handle that, because it can be a difference in your business. I've had people say, Candia, we've had a problem, but I just really appreciate you taking the time to handle this. And then refer me to people just based on the customer service that they get. And then Heidi Kroger says, no one likes conflicts, but it doesn't go away if you ignore it. No, ma'am. It only gets worse, and it puts a bad taste in the client's mouth. And so don't avoid it. Don't avoid it. And so I don't know what's going to happen with this client that this order that happened in Embroidery Boss, where the person posted a picture of the misalignment. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but the fact that they already have gotten paid and now they are avoiding the customer. Very bad for business. Very bad for business. And so that's what I would like to add. And I'm just going to go through and see what everyone's putting here. So let's see. All right. And Sheila also says word of mouth can build or destroy your business. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's always good to keep that in mind. Okay, and so if that's all that you have, I am going to log off and start working in my order, because all my orders. I also have some unboxing to do tonight. Yeah, I've got to unbox, and hopefully I get a chance to play with my heat press tomorrow. And that's all that I have. So I just wanted to say that. I didn't want to keep you guys too long. And if you're up later on, and I think of another topic while I'm up, then I'll come back on. But until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.